Welcome to Never Rewrite. I'm Isaac Askew.
And I'm Jeffrey Sherman. And today we're going to ponder whether changing jobs is like a rewrite. So this occurred to me after you were talking about the Kobayashi Maru, I think last time or the
Hmm.
time before, or in the 80s when Star Trek was much more popular.
And I didn't exist.
And you didn't exist. Yes, back then. You were inspiring me even then.
Excellent.
Actually,
Okay.
I have always been fairly intentional with getting when I switch jobs. I've been
Hmm.
fairly intentional. It doesn't mean it always my intentions always worked out, but like I had a reason that I was getting a new job. But I've seen many people over the years switch jobs because they hate their current job and they think, oh, if I get a new job, that will make me happy. It'll be
Mm.
new. I will get rid of all the legacy things I hate about my current job,
I see.
and this new job will make me happy.
Got it.
And I guess they all went and got new jobs, so I don't know how well that worked out. But generally speaking, it didn't work out. Like people who joined places where I was, thinking that a new job would make them happy, and having no specific intention about it,
Hmm.
didn't seem to work out too well.
Gotcha.
So maybe kick it off with I'll tell some stories about like reasons that I've changed my job. So like the first time, my first job
Sure.
out of college, I felt I was grossly underpaid,
Hmm.
and so I went and got a new job because the thing that I wanted was more money, and I got that. And then I hated that job. Actually, it was a terrible job. And my original company, who had told me no on a salary increase conversation, went and hired me back.
Hmm.
And so, in the course of 8 weeks, I increased my salary by 2/3.
Oh, voice.
Yeah, two. I had gone in. I asked for like a 10% raise, and they told me no. So I went and got a new job, which got me like a 25% raise, and then they hired me back.
That's a great move.
So like
Excellent.
that worked out pretty well, and I got everything I was looking for, which was more. The work was fine. I just wanted more money,
Hmm.
and that point, I'm like, I might be getting overpaid, and I was a little worried about it. That now perhaps I was being overpaid and thus overly expendable.
Right.
Whereas before I was underpaid and therefore they were never going to get rid of me.
Under the radar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he does great work for the amount of money we pay him. Don't ever bother.
Yep.
Uh, so like that was my first, and that worked out medium. Or quitting the second time, getting the new job and then quitting
Hmm.
was not the the place that I landed was terrible. That's why I was so receptive to getting hired back because the only thing I was after was more money, and it was a anyway. Other times I've quit have been to gain positions or titles or raises or to learn new skills or things that were interesting.
Right.
But I've never just been like, oh, I hate everyone I work with or I hate the technology that I work with.
Right.
And so if I get a new job, it'll be bad. Like I don't know, when you look in the times
Hmm.
that you have looked for a new job, was did you ever just look for the same thing but not exactly, but like the same but different, I guess. Whereas like, oh, I want the same kind of thing that I'm doing now. I just don't want to do it here.
Let me think through it. I don't know. This has not been fresh in my mind, and I do have some
Hmm.
ideas for tying this back to a rewrite at the end. So let's go back to that too. Um, Let me walk through them then. I know the first startup I was at, we had a story about that one, but the
Yes.
customers got raided by the FBI, and so we lost our customers.
Right.
And
Did
so,
they go out of business at that point or
well, I told them I'd
slowly?
stay on longer, um, because everybody else was leaving, but I
Hmm.
couldn't really keep that promise because the writing was on the wall, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I said I'd stay, but I really have to go, which was just it sucked. But they did eventually go out of business, but they were going to anyway, and it was one
Hmm.
of those cases where like they weren't going to give me any more money or promote me to stay, as everyone and all my colleagues were leaving, like all of
Hmm.
them. So I would have been like one of like two people maybe left working, um, and I just knew it wasn't a good idea. Also, I got like pressure like directly from the CEO to stay, And I'm like, oh yeah. And in the moment, I was like, okay, I'll stay. But then later, as I was not in the moment, being looked at by everybody and asked directly by the CEO, I was like, well, wait a minute. I think I just said it in the moment because I was like, I needed a job. I didn't want them just
Yeah.
to fire me. So I kind of felt pressured to say yes to begin with. But in that case, I wasn't super happy with the job. It was a startup, so part of me was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, if it makes it big, I'm going to be a millionaire. But it never really works out. But the people were fun to work with. In technology, we didn't have to rewrite anything there because we were making a brand new thing. We were
Right.
just writing the
Startup.
first time. So it wasn't bad. The pay was okay for what it was at the
Mm-hmm.
time. The time in 2012 in Mississippi, that kind of salary. Um,
Yeah.
but there wasn't a lot of career movement opportunities anyway. Like that was the only job there. So I ended up just like finding a different job in a different state. That's how I moved to Chicago and did active campaign for the first time, getting a relocation bonus essentially to move and try out something new.
Cool.
Um, so that job I wouldn't call that one a rewrite based. If we're going to tie these back to rewrite based jobs or so switches, that one wasn't.
Right. You basically lost your job because the company was
Yeah,
going out of business. It wasn't about you.
yeah, yeah.
It was about
It,
them.
I think yeah, a little bit of combination of both, but mostly them. It's like if you stayed, you would have really would have shot yourself in the foot. So switching from the next job, um, I think that one I didn't really know. I was there for 4 years, but I don't really know if I think I was leaving just because I wanted more like a more responsibilities, a title, more money.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that thing that to your question, did I want the same thing in a different place? Um, I liked the fun aspects of
Mm-hmm.
this is active campaign I'm talking about. I don't feel
Yeah.
bad, name dropping here, but I love the aspects of a lot of the cool complexities of working an active campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wasn't necessarily mad at the things I had to do there. For example, the code being gnarly in some things was fun to me. That wasn't the
Yes.
thing. Whereas,
It's
like if we're
still a
tying
lot
it
of
back
fun.
to right, if we're talking back to rewrites, people
Mm-hmm.
in the code analogy, it's hard to work in their current system, or they don't like it, or they find better ways to work with it or change it. And so because of that, they get frustrated, and that's what kind of one of the reasons they want to rewrite. That wasn't bad to me. That was fun. That was
Right.
part of the gig. The idea that everyone else hates working in this gnarly code was the thrill for me. uh, so
Yeah. Look
that
at me
didn't
do
lead me to
something
like,
that nobody else can do.
yeah. I felt like a little bit of sense of value. Like, okay, they'll pull me in for these really tricky problems, especially because no one else seems to want to work on them. They hate this. They almost write it off as like janitorial work, and they hate that. They hate the cleaning and now I've broken this. I'm broken that. Um,
So interesting thing that has occurred to me while you're talking,
mhm.
the resetting the table aspect of a rewrite, right? Like you came to active campaign since we already said the name. You were there 4 years. You grew as a developer.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah.
And one of the problems you were having is people didn't see your growth. They still thought of you as the same person who came in the door. And so by getting a new job, by leaving active campaign, you were able to reset that perception of you. You were this level of developer. And so here you have rewritten. Well, you haven't rewritten because you're not the same. You are
Yeah.
resetting. You are you you're deleting all of the old perceptions of you as a entry level developer
Yeah.
to create perceptions of you as a more senior developer because resetting the people perceptions is very hard.
hmm
And
That's
just
that's an interesting way to frame it. In that case, I was rewriting my brand, me,
yeah,
how I sell myself.
well,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure you were rewriting because you were trying a different brand. You were not trying the brand of
Mm.
a junior developer. You were trying the brand of a senior developer or even a staff principal. I think is where you jumped to.
Not immediately next. I went to senior
Okay,
next, and then the
senior
principal.
next.
Yeah.
So there is an aspect of that where it's much easier to change the thing, but I guess there you're not
hmm
trying for the same, right? You weren't trying for lateral with the perceptions. You were saying I can't. I'm changing jobs to change how people perceive me as a developer.
Yeah.
You, you weren't trying to change jobs to reset perceptions of how people see you. Like if
Right.
you'd really made a mess of things.
Yeah, and in fact, I was told by higher ups,
Mm-hmm.
a particular higher up, that my reputation amongst my colleagues was really high. Like, people really enjoyed working with me and they respected me, and that my reputation amongst leadership was soured essentially.
Mm.
And so that I was like, okay, well, if the person signing off on the promotion is not really, they don't really like me for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, maybe I've ruined that and I've just been a little bit too much of a squeaky wheel that
Yeah.
didn't get the grease. Then I don't think there's much I can do. I can't, my friends can love me as much as they want, but that's not really going to help my career. So that was more of the reset, I think, in that case.
Yeah. Now, does that qualify as a rewrite or is that a reset? Because now
Yeah.
you're iterating on your career, but you're not trying to do a rewrite. You're not trying to start over exactly. See where I'm
Yeah.
struggling here with this. Is it a reset or is it a
the
rewrite? Because I think if you
well
go and you're trying
the rewrite analogy would be I'm
mm,
staying and I am going to iteratively work on my reputation with the people here until I can improve and progress. So that would be that's how we do the thesis ship. I would be thesis
right, that'd be
shipping my
the
reputation such that I
right,
could finally get that promotion.
which is a thing. And
Yeah, and I didn't
I
do
don't
that, so I would call it a
know. I
rewrite.
in terms of a
That's a weird
job career, I would
analogy.
almost never say to do that.
Yeah, don't thesis
Which
ship
it's
it.
interesting. Don't
Yeah.
thesis ship your career. This is interesting that we are giving the
Hmm.
opposite advice when it comes to career.
It's almost like people are different than code.
People are different than code, which that's a strange concept. I'm gonna have to ponder that one.
Ask AI.
I'll ask AI: are people different than code? Are
I'm
you
struggling
people,
answering that question, Isaac.
Claude? Are you people? But there's also the aspect of hmm. I was gonna say like if you were at Google or Facebook or one of the things, the unicorns that took off,
Mhm.
it might have made sense to thesis ship your reputation.
Oh yeah, it's worth.
It
I mean,
would
in
have
this
been
case,
worth
I didn't.
sucking it up.
Yeah, I
And
didn't have equity either, so the
yeah,
things that would tie you there in case things succeeded or were not there to tie me to stay. There was not much benefit, especially because switching gigs in this case was
mm-hmm.
I got the title and a massive pay raise. It was just like, oh wow, okay, this entire time I was spinning my wheels. Let's do that again. So, so I tried it at that job, and the next job I didn't really like. I liked some of the people I was working with a lot. The thing I was
mm,
building was real estate based, and it just wasn't very. Well, it just didn't really scratch the niche as far as what I was building. I didn't feel like I was. I feel like I was helping a lot of other really upper class rich people get the home they wanted, and I wasn't really helping like the little guy or anything. Which
mm,
Active Campaign was helping. It was like it was they had some really affordable solutions, cheaper plans, $5 to $9, I think was what they upped it to, for small businesses. You know,
right.
it's not like they were just like selling $100 a month subscriptions to the elite giant companies. They could do that too, but they weren't only doing that. So something about that just felt icky. And so after a year and a half
Mm,
of the next gig, I was like, I don't really like what I'm doing. Let me just try it again. And then it happened again. I got another, um, you know, big pay increase. And then after a year there, I got promoted to principal. So it was like people really valued my skills, but it was one of those things where I'm like, am I underconfident in some areas? Am I overconfident in these areas? Am I just
mm-hmm.
in the wrong place? Did I sell my skills better to this group of people? Or was it, and in this case, is probably a mixture of a lot of things, because I think a lot of the stuff Active Campaign taught me,
Mm-hmm.
the company, two companies down, was like, whoa, we really like those skills. We like those refactoring and all this testing stuff. You're the perfect person we need for this role. And so it just kind of, the piece fit really, really well. And that probably helped
Yeah.
boost it too. So I think, I mean, if there is our job switches rewrites, I don't know if it's a perfect analogy in this case,
No,
but
it doesn't have
I
to be
think that
perfect. It's a question.
it's closer to, yeah. You're trying, I mean, or a reset. You're essentially trying out a new technology, literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because the old one might not work for you for whatever reasons, and instead of trying to stay and fix the things that don't work for you, it might not even be worth it. It might just be worth it to abandon that. It was the wrong product market fit. It was the wrong products. You need to try a new
Mm-hmm.
thing out for you, something that you have a better fit for. So
That's an
eighty
interesting part.
percent rewrite.
Well, that's an interesting part of the analogy of in a rewrite, you still want the same thing, right? You still want the product. If you're going to
Mm,
rewrite your piece of software, you still need a piece of software that does all the things that the software originally did.
yeah.
And in this job analogy, we're saying, hey, you don't want the same thing. You want something different. And so you're throwing away the old thing and you're getting something new, even though the new thing is still pretty much the same thing as the old thing. So, see, I'm not sure. See, it feels very rewritey,
Yeah.
like especially if you consider it like a career.
Hmm.
Well, I guess if you change industries, it's kind of on your career. Hmm,
I think we're
man,
trying to make this
we're
a
trying.
nice
It's
analogy, but it really isn't exactly right. But there are
that's
some like similar. I can see why the thought would cross your mind and go, "Oh, there's some parallels there."
there are
Am
some
I avoiding
parallels.
this
Yeah,
problem? Am I sticking to make it? Like, why am I trying to change this problem? Is the main thing. What's
right.
the problem with me staying here? Do I fix it, or just do
Mm-hmm.
I say, "Hey, this thing's not going to work for me. I should do something brand new."
Well, I think
Those parts
thinking
stick.
about it, I think let's flip around instead of talking about the how you're at that inflection point where you're going to do the rewrite.
Hmm.
Let's consider it from the aspect of how things got so bad that now you're considering a new job, right? So
Hmm.
if you have software, like a lot of classic cases, you wrote a proof of concept and it took off, and now this POC doesn't scale well, right?
Yeah.
And so now people are like, oh well, that was just a POC. I did it sloppy, and now I need to rewrite it to do all the things correctly
Hmm.
so that it needs to scale. And there's an aspect of that with career, especially with software developers, of oh, I hired this person right out of college or high school, and they took off, right? Who knows what they were, but they took off. Now they're this hugely scaled developer. They're a good developer.
Hmm.
And I have not considered that scaling aspect of it. So they're like, hey, my salary should have gone up 100% by now. You
Hmm.
should be paying me double what you paid me 2 or 3, 4 years ago because of all the skills I've learned and all the things I'm doing better.
Yeah.
And they haven't. Like the job, the perception of you as a developer hasn't grown as much as you, the developer, have grown. And so now the
It's a
way that you're
scaling
looking to
problem.
fix it, it's a scaling problem. Well, especially developers, because
Yeah.
developers, especially in the early years of your career, switching jobs is massively profitable.
Yeah.
Like unless you get hired and work for a rare company that does big pay increases. Like the first job I quit, felt I was underpaid, and then they hired me back, and it was basically a 66% pay increase,
Hmm.
if not more. And I'd been there 4 years. And there are many other like that was kind of a common theme between our two discussions of jobs is quitting your job got you a huge pay increase.
Yeah.
And they could have thesis shipped pay increases along with the problems that you were solving, but that tended to not happen. Like that became
Yeah.
the tech debt, the legacy problem that you were having is they were not keeping up, and then the gap became too wide in their perception. To
Yeah. Yep. Something like that. There's a degree of the stagnation, I guess is the word. A
mm,
feeling of stagnation either from like uh recognition of growth through like the form of a title, even if there was no pay increase to the title,
mm-hmm,
or recognition from growth and for hard work in the form of compensation. There was something there that felt stagnation. I felt underappreciated, whether or not I was or wasn't, because I was younger in my career, and I've definitely done a lot of soul searching and reflection on like what did I do right, what did I do wrong.
mm-hmm.
You know,
That's a good thing to do.
I don't really know whether I was undervalued or not.
It's
I
very
still
hard to
felt that way.
know.
It's hard to know. But either way, there was the feeling. The feeling is really
Right.
what matters. The
You
feeling
felt it.
of
Whether you were right
underappreciation.
or wrong doesn't change how you felt.
Exactly. And then going to work every day feeling unappreciated was something I could not thesis ship my way out of at the time.
Yes.
I didn't know how to get out of that loop. So in this case, switching made the most sense.
Well, and we also, just to beat the analogy some more,
Sure.
the company had chosen to do a rewrite, right? Because they could have thesis shipped you and your career, or the alternative is they knew or should have known that you were going to leave, and then they were going to hire a new developer, and that's a rewrite on their side.
Mm-hmm.
But having a developer quit on you and hiring a new developer is a rewrite. And so,
oh yeah, it's a massive
from there,
onboarding
right, it's a
cost
massive,
and loss.
and it's a huge gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And so, from their from the employer's perception, they could or probably should have done so. I think what was interesting is we're saying, from the employee's perception, this is a case where we're saying it would make sense. It makes more sense to jump ship, to do a rewrite versus thesis ship your way out of it. But from the employer's standpoint, it feels the opposite. They should have worked harder to retain you, because that would have been a much more effective. Because almost guarantee whenever you hire a new developer, they're going to hate some aspect of what the old developer did, and they're going to want to rewrite it.
Whether or not this is true or not, apparently people would mark employees who left as either regrettable or non-regrettable. And I was told I was a regrettable loss, which made me feel better. And I feel like the regrettable losses are the ones that you do want to thesis ship. Yes. I imagine there must be some non-regrettable ones too.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure there are in the wide spectrum of employees.
Yeah,
people that quit before they got fired.
Yeah,
right. You're like, oh, thank goodness the person quit. I didn't have to fire them.
Yeah, maybe that was me.
Maybe I was. I fear that has been me on at least one occasion.
Everybody's the hero in their own story, right? I feel like I did all the right things. Well, maybe not.
You can't have a hero arc without some down. You need negative things for any kind of hero arc. You need the trough of despair.
I mean, for it to be a good story to other people, I could also just be always a hero. That would be great. What if I just didn't need the arc?
That would not be a good story.
It wouldn't be a good story. But I'm not
trying to Superman always just came in and saved the day and never had any. That's why Superman doesn't make great. The Superman stories are hard because Superman's so powerful and always saves the day.
All right. Well,
versus like Daredevil, who always gets beat up. Anyway, comic books.
I think we're
beating this to death. Right. Thank you all for listening. If you have actually listened this far, I'm Jeffrey Sherman.
And I'm Askew, and this is Never Rewrite.